Bharat, can you check with Janki ji?
Yes, yes.
Apologies for this delay. Sahana bhavatu sahana punattu saha viryam karavavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Together we chant Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verses 11 to 20.
अवजानन्ति मां मूढाः मानुषीं तनुमाश्रितम् परं भावमजानन्तः मम भूतमहेश्वरम् मोघाशामोघकर्माणः मोघज्ञानाविचेतसः राक्षसीमासुरीं चैव प्रकृतिं मोहिनीं श्रिताः महात्मानस्तु मां पार्थ दैवीं प्रकृतिमाश्रिताः भजन्त्यनन्यमनसः ज्ञात्वा भूतादिमव्ययम् सततं कीर्तयन्तो मां यतन्तश्च दृढव्रताः नमस्यन्तश्च मां भक्त्या नित्ययुक्ता उपासते ज्ञानयज्ञेन चाप्यन्ये यजन्तो मामुपासते एकत्वेन पृथक्त्वेन बहुधा विश्वतो मुखम् अहं क्रतुरहं यज्ञः स्वधाहमहमौषधम् मन्त्रोऽहमहमेवाज्यम् अहमग्निरहं हुतम् पिताहमस्य जगतः माता धाता पितामहः वेद्यं पवित्रमोङ्कारः ऋक्सामयजुरेव च गतिर्भर्ता प्रभुः साक्षी निवासः शरणं सुहृत् प्रभवः प्रलयस्थानम् निधानं बीजमव्ययम् तपाम्यहमहं वर्षम् निगृह्णाम्युत्सृजामि च अमृतं चैव मृत्युश्च सदसच्चाहमर्जुन त्रैविद्या मां सोमपाः पूतपापाः यज्ञैरिष्ट्वा स्वर्गतिं प्रार्थयन्ते ते पुण्यमासाद्य सुरेन्द्रलोकम् अश्नन्ति दिव्यान् दिवि देव भोगान्.
So he had explained to us the relationship between the world and him, how the combination of Prakriti and Purusha gives rise to this phenomenon, meaning that there is something there and there is some perception we have of what is there. The combination of these two things gives rise to a certain experience. We don't always see things for what they are. We most often don't see things for what they are. I think I would not be incorrect if I say we never see things for what they are. We have our own mental superimpositions upon those things. Now, this combination between the thing, whatever it be, in the ultimate sense, it is Brahman, it is reality, and our perception of that thing, that illusory projection that we have upon it. This combination gives rise to a certain kind of experience we go through. These experiences are our life. Now, while we go through this experience, this particular loka that we inhabit, we get this option. Am I going to go with the illusion or am I going to go with the reality? Going with the illusion is always very easy because the illusion of what I'm seeing. So it's easy to do that. It is obvious that I will go with that. The whole trick of life is to be able to change our focus to the reality. Now, this is difficult because the reality is not seen. We don't know what it is. How are we going to do this? So, minimum we should know is there is a reality here. I am not able to see it, and I must struggle to see it. So, why waste my time? Why don't I just go with the illusion? How do you even answer that question? Think of an example. Think that you are in the desert. You are seeing a mirage in front of you. You're seeing water. So what will you do? You'll rush towards that water. But what is it? Moghasha mogha karmani vichetasaha. That's what he said, right? That's what he said, that it is a moghasha. It's a hope in vain. Mogha karmanaha. It's an action in vain. It is mogha jnana. It is knowledge in vain. You're seeing a mirage. You think there is a mirage there. It's a knowledge in vain. Vichetasaha. It's without any head functioning at all. If we had a head functioning, at least we should be able to question that. I'm seeing a mirage. I know that I can see the mirage is there. I know the mirage is there. But is it really there? If you don't ask this question, then it's a hope in vain, it's an action in vain, it's a knowledge in vain. Just don't ask the question. So what is spiritual sadhana? Asking the question. That's it. Is this really as I see it to be? And when I see it in a particular way, I get that experience. From that experience, I go through very strong emotions and all sorts of things are going on. I have created a whole world, a whole samsara out of absolutely nothing. Absolutely. Amazing. He says, they are possessed of delusive prakriti of Rakshasas and Asuras. And isn't that where we lead ourselves? Don't we see ourselves doing things that we ourselves are ashamed of? We're crying, we're screaming, we're shouting, we're beating. We ourselves are ashamed. We know at some stage that this is not the kind of person I want to be. I'm doing things I don't want to do. I don't want to be in friction. I don't want to fight. I don't want to get angry. I don't want to cry. I don't want to do all this stuff. And yet I'm doing it. So we have to trace our way back. You've gone to the mirage now. You've reached the mirage. You found the sorrow. You're miserable. You're unhappy. At least at this stage, understand where the mistake lies. Instead of seeing where our mistake lies, we start criticizing the illusion. We'll say, see, he's like this, she's like this happened, that happened. My husband is so mean. My wife is so horrible. My child doesn't love me. He's gone away somewhere. Something or the other. My business has failed. I'm not getting a girlfriend. Something or the other. Instead of working our way backwards, instead of finding out where does the problem lie, philosophy is that. It is not about telling us what to do. Okay, so understand the process of religious education. It's not relevant to the topic, but please understand how this happens. Religious education contains 3 parts. The first part is the philosophy. Once you get the philosophy, you don't need the other 2 parts. But 99% don't get the philosophy. So then they move to part number 2. Part number 2, the values. Okay, so then give you a lot of be charitable, be honest, be nice, be good, help people, think positive. They'll start giving you some values. If you don't understand the philosophy, you go to values. And even if the values are not comprehended, then eventually what can a teacher do but give an action? See, in our own case, this is true of every religion. Okay, these are universal things. They're not only. In fact, to make this clear, in the new book that's coming, the book on happiness, it's made up of 3 parts: philosophy, values, action. It's very clear to everybody. I hope. I keep trying to make it clear. Don't think it ever gets clear. But 3 clear steps in how you learn. If you understand philosophy, you don't need the rest of the book. If you don't understand philosophy, go to values. And if you don't understand values, then get down to action. Action does only one thing. It stops you from going so horribly wrong that you completely mess up life. Amarinder, when is the launch? I wish I knew. It's a long, long way off. Too many things happening. And launch is a long way off. It has to be edited first. The whole process of editing goes on now. So, the 3... No, you can't book a copy now. There is nothing there. It is in the air so far. Means it's written, but it's written really badly, so it has to be rewritten. So, what do actions do? This is where a guru actually helps. Helps in the sense that if you are with the teacher, every now and then the teacher corrects an action, because that's all a teacher can do. A teacher can do no more. Can correct the action, can stop you and say, don't do this. Frighten you so much that you stop doing whatever it is you're doing. But what does that achieve? That only achieves that you don't mess your life up completely. That's all it achieves. That's all the teacher can do. But that's not even the role of the teacher. The role of the teacher is to actually explain the philosophy. But the teacher can't do that. Because
he himself doesn't know.
that's so mean, Deepa. No,
We have so many who don't know, mislead people, Janki.
Yes, that is true. But then we can't call them philosophy.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Because we have awareness.
Self-realization.
What, Anita?
We have to work on it ourselves.
You have to do it yourself. Philosophical education, you have to get yourself. Well, how can anyone give it to you? You have to get it yourself. Either you get it or you don't get it. It is so simple in life. So when the teacher sees that you're not getting it, then they start giving you some kind of values because you don't understand the principle. So you go to values. And can't even get values, then what can they do? They just stop or start certain actions in your life, which only helps keep your life on track. It doesn't help you grow. Then you may say, why does the teacher do that? I don't know why the teacher does that, because how can you allow a child to fail the exams, right? So you just do whatever you need to do to make that child get past that exam. So these are the 3 steps. Now, if you look at what we do also, it's exactly the same, isn't it? Like if you came to yesterday's class, for instance, then you know what we studied. That depending on where your thoughts are, you're going to get that kind of life, right? That's the principle. That's the philosophy. So you don't get that. So then you're given a value. You're given some kind of thing that please, something like keep your thoughts on the right things, make sure that you spend your thoughts with good things, and some kind of values are given. And if you still don't get it, then you get an instruction. What is the instruction you will get?
To action.
the temple.
Do karma yoga.
Do good actions.
Morning study.
Morning study. You're told, do morning study. It's an action. You're given an instruction. Do it. But why is that instruction necessary? If you understood the philosophy, why on earth will you require any instruction? If you require an instruction, it means you haven't understood either the value or the philosophy. So 99% of people do not associate with the philosophy. That is why philosophy classrooms are always very, very small. Okay, then another 10% maybe can get into values because they can see something beyond action. But the vast majority are just given action. Then when they are given action and that action works for them, then they will go telling everybody, my teacher is so good, you must follow this action. No, this action is for you, Baba, not for the rest of the world. Deepak Kunwani, the philosophy values action. This is moving from subtle to gross. So if philosophy isn't correct, would any intervention at action level really help? Yes, Deepak. How do our teachers save our lives? They stop you at the action level. They can't do anything else. What did Krishna do for Arjuna? He stopped him at the action level. Arjuna, that fool, would have left the battleground and gone and fought and gone to the Himalayas thinking he's a great sannyasi, and then gone to the Himalayas and set up a fight there with somebody. Because that's his nature, right? He'll do it.
Janki ji, can I ask a question?
1 second, Aditi. Yes, I'll just come to you. So, if philosophy isn't correct, would any intervention at action level really help? The intervention at action level is the only help possible when philosophy is not correct. Okay, let's put it this way. If the philosophy is right, that you understand you have a physical body, okay? This physical body is part of matter, right? So it needs a certain amount of nurturing because every part of matter requires nurturing. If you had a seed, you would have to nurture it, right? You have to put it in soil and you have to put water and fertilizer and blah, blah. Nature, it works like that. So this body is part of matter. So it needs nurturing. What is the nurturing this body requires? It requires to have good nutritious food. It requires to have rest. It requires water. It requires exercise. And it requires a calm mind. That's how this body works. Nothing very spectacular, just simple common sense. So if you don't get it, then they will. This is simple common sense philosophy. If you don't get it, then you go to values. Oh, we must look after our body. We must, or something like that. Must take care of our body. And like, what is we must take care of our body? Isn't it common sense? Like, what is the value in this? But you don't get the first one, so you're given the second one. And if you don't get that, then you will be told something like, do yoga every day. something like that. It's an instruction. So you don't get it that this body is part of matter, and therefore it will have to be dealt with in a certain way. So then you're given some values, you don't get that also, then you're given an instruction. Now you started doing yoga without understanding the first two. Your body to that extent will be benefited. You won't mess up the matter even further. Is that clear, Deepak?
Yes, Janki ji. Just a very quick clarification. Would it be correct to therefore assume that it's a short-term way of correcting a particular situation, but for a longer term, unless you understand the philosophy of maintaining your body, a person won't continue to do yoga just if he's given a do and don't on action? Is it a temporary intervention at action level?
No, it's not a temporary intervention, because that person, if his guru has told him do yoga, he may do it for the rest of his life. So it may not be temporary. It may or may not be temporary. It may be temporary because he may lose enthusiasm after some time, or because he is motivated, his guru told him, or he saw some result out of it, and he may continue. So it's not about temporary. It is that you have to go back to the basic definition between subtle and gross. So what happens when you do something gross, and what happens when you do something subtle? So what is subtle? Subtle is something which is more pervasive, right? Gross is something which is less pervasive. So if you do yoga, you're told to do yoga, stand on your head, bend your back, whatever you're told, you will be benefited only to the extent of that particular thin line. But if you understood what it means about the body itself, every aspect will get taken care of because it's more pervasive. So it's not about temporary or permanent, it's more about pervasive or not. The more the gross our understanding, the more restricted the benefit out of it. Is that okay?
Understood. Thank you.
Okay, Aditi, you're done. Dhaval, good morning, ma'am. My first class today. Okay. Please guide where to start besides understanding this class. Besides understanding this class, where do you start? I guess you start by coming to the next class as well. I don't know where else you can start. And then once you have got some kind of regularity with classes and you're able to maintain a certain degree of regularity, then the step after that is to be able to start reflecting upon those classes. You can start reflecting on the class even now, but from the fact that such few people do it, I'm assuming people are finding that extremely hard to do. So do what you can is the first law. So what is it that you're supposed to do? Attend the class, buy the text. This is another very strange thing I find in the class. Most people don't have the text. I don't understand this. You have undertaken the class that will go on for maybe a few years and don't have the text. I can't understand. How are you expecting to understand anything? So please, everybody, get the text. Okay, here's an instruction. Why is an instruction given? Because common sense. I am studying something, I must have the text. I have never been through any educational program in my life without having the textbook. Have you been through any education without having the textbook? I don't know. Did you ever go to school or college and not have your textbooks? At least you had a Xerox of the textbooks. You had something. Now, after 10 people have a textbook, this degree of giving instruction is unparalleled, especially for people doing philosophical studies. I don't know what to say to that now. If this much is not clear, I don't know what clarity we are going to ever have. So first step, get the book. So Dhaval, guide where to start? Get the book. Open the book. Read the book. And after reading the book, don't read the whole book, only read what we have studied in this class. And then think about it. You are now in the pursuit of an intellect. And intellect means the capacity to reason. So you're not here to believe the class. You're not here to trust the class. You're not here to follow a particular teacher. You are here to develop your intellect. And there is only one way to develop the intellect, which is apply it. Apply it to what you're studying. First, have the textbook. If you don't have the text, what are you going to apply it to? And then think about it. Think about it a lot, as much as you can think about it. Are you okay, Dhaval?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am. I'll get the text and follow the classes accordingly.
And I hope the rest
Thank
of the
you, ma'am.
class also follows Dhaval. I can't believe somebody told me that people don't have the textbook. Don't have the textbook? Never even imagined such a condition would exist. Anyone else is new in the class today? Bharat, are you there? I think one protocol we should follow in the class is every class, please ask on the chat, is anybody new? So that at least we know that there is a new person. Otherwise, one just continues and that poor new person is like, ये हो क्या रहा है यहाँ पे? Bharat, those who are new and need the text, please message me. Bharat, wrong message. Those who are new and need the text, please message Bharat. No. Those who do not have the text, new or old, please message Bharat. New and don't have the text. What about the old guys who still don't have the text? So please get it from Bharat.
I'm thinking the old people are scared now and have already ordered. Okay, Karan, but you still need the text because you have to have the original. India is the only place where we study things without the original. I went through post-graduation and I could have easily gone through the whole thing without reading a single original text. It's just because I refuse to do it that way. But here, secondary sources are considered to be the way you study. I did a course from the University of Pennsylvania where we did Homer, Greek and Roman mythology. Okay, none of us knew Greek at all. He did it from the original text. I don't understand this the way of education in this country. Not reading original text. What is that even supposed to mean? I don't know. Abhinav Sehgal, I am new. Okay, to this class, Abhinav, I assume. Vijay Chavan, will Bhagavad Gita by A. Parthasarthi work? Vijay, it is not the book that will work. It is the only book to read because that's the one we are studying. That is it. That's the one you have to get. That's the one Bharat will help you get if you're having a issue in getting it. Okay, so now all this has got nothing to do with what we're doing in the class. Please, we're going to go back and start the flow of thought again. There is an illusion. There is a reality. We see the illusion. We chase the illusion. We create all these complications of running behind the mirage and then becoming miserable. And it's not just misery, it's a million things. It is something, sometimes you may be perfectly happy, but you're not reached your potential. It's a million things. And I say misery because everybody understands misery, but it's not just misery. It may be that you have not contributed to the extent you could have contributed. Maybe you haven't done as much as you could have done. And I think almost everybody will agree with the idea that I think I could have done better. I think we'd all agree with that. And the question always is, why didn't I? Because somewhere along the way, I was seeing the illusion instead of seeing the reality. So that's why he's saying, if you miss me in the human form, if you miss the reality, and you follow the illusion. Meaning, you get caught up with some perception and don't see the facts of the case. If this happens, then when you're caught up in those perceptions, moghasha, mogha karmani, mogha jnana, vichetasaha. It is vain hopes, vain desires, vain actions. It's all these hopes, desires, actions are in vain. But if you see the facts correctly, then all of it will come out correct. That's so simple, right? And then as a consequence of seeing it like that, we become asuras and rakshasas. Means we start doing very negative. We get angry, we throw things, what sort of nonsense we start doing? We start fighting with people, we start criticizing people, we start judging people. Everything that you think you are doing wrong is a consequence of you telling
Chasing
Illusion.
after
Your
illusion.
intellect.
The way they are supposed to.
Chasing after illusion.
Seeing things the way they are.
not
Undeveloped intellect.
not
Wrong
seeing
perception.
wrong perception. Putting your attention on something that you ought not to have put your attention on. What is that thing you ought not to have put your attention on?
Prakriti.
Matter.
Prakriti, matter, illusion. Use any word of your choice as long as you get the point. Whenever you see yourself behaving badly, work backwards. Say, okay, reached Asuric, reached Rakshasa. Now come back to verse 12. What was my wrong hope or wrong action or wrong knowledge? Go to verse 11, say, okay, what did I miss in the reality? What is this illusion I am seeing? Figure it out, go backwards. If you're finding it difficult to figure it out, then take help for heaven's sake. Stop being an Asura. The teacher or any wise person or somebody, whoever knows that particular area, can help you correct your actions, as a consequence of which at least you will not be an Asura. This much at least you can get. Okay, all clear up to verse 12. Anybody has a question on this flow of thought? Because we can go off very easily. And then I will get a message from Bharat. You're taking too many questions. And if any one of you message him that, oh, why are we taking so many questions? And I will get all those messages because he feels it's all weapons in his armor. You know what we should do? We should divide all the students into category A, B, and C. Category A students are allowed to ask questions. Category B, ask any question. Category B are allowed to ask, what was yesterday's suggestion, Bharat? 2 questions. Only 2 questions they can ask. Category C are not allowed to ask questions. We'll divide all the students. Okay, good idea. Only problem is how will we divide? Okay. How will we divide?
Volunteer, doctor. Everyone can volunteer into the group. I'll be in the C, ma'am.
Okay, then no questions for you, Noel.
That's all.
Yeah, so you can't speak in that.
You'll
At
put
all.
all of us in C, Janki ji.
What?
You're going to put all of us in C.
No. In fact, I would not put anyone in anything. Why not let everybody decide? Are they A, B, or C? If you're A, then you are free to ask any question. So, but how will you decide whether you're A? We should have a yardstick. If you're studying every morning, then you're A. If you're studying at least 5-6 days a week, okay, chalo, let's make it easy. If you're studying 5-6 days a week, you're free to ask any question. B, you're studying in the morning 5-6 days a week. A, if you're studying sometime in the day, wait, I should make that more tough. Too easy this is. You're studying 5-6 days every morning and you're engaged in Karma Yoga. A, you're studying 4 or 5 days a week, anytime in the day. B, you're not studying. C. Okay, fair classification. So you have to
the
make your own
criteria
chart.
is the study. The criteria is the study. So let everybody think of it sincerely, that where they fall into, right?
Okay, but why are you saying that? They'll do their own.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That is the criteria is the study, and let everyone sincerely tell which group they are in.
But Nonita, you are in C, so you can't say anything at all. You've already declared you're in C, so you are not allowed to speak only in the class.
Okay.
So whoever declares themselves as anything will have to then follow that thing, unless their criteria changes. Sarthak, in lockdown, karma yoga is not possible. Arey baap re Sarthak, main kya bolu? Do you have any idea how many people are working here?
Ma'am, the type of action I do, that is not possible. मैं आपके लिए नहीं कह रहा, general statement नहीं कह रहा कि हर एक के लिए possible नहीं है. मेरे लिए possible नहीं क्योंकि the type of action I do is more physical and it is in the shop which is closed.
Are you in A, B or C? First you tell me that. If you're in C, you can't speak only. Anybody in C cannot speak.
मैं A में था लेकिन मैम आपने कर्म योगा वाली कंडीशन जोड़ दी तो फिर मैंने बोला रिवोल्ट किया कि मैम क्या कहते हैं मैं 5-6
तो आप B में हो. So 2 questions allowed for you. 2 questions for those in B. Now you have to keep a chart, and you might find in life that you sometimes move. Okay, you may be A category normally, but at the moment you're C. So you please keep your chart and maintain. And you must keep your chart for 2 weeks before you say anything.
मैम लेकिन लॉकडाउन खुल जाएगा तो मैं ऑटोमेटिकली ए में आ जाऊंगा, लेकिन लॉकडाउन खुलना वो मेरे पे डिपेंडेंट नहीं है ना, वो तो गवर्नमेंट पे डिपेंडेंट है.
No, Sarthak, this is your second question, and the answer is you're wrong. How simple life is. There are 40, I don't even know how many people are working. Sometimes I lose track of who is doing what. The amount of people who are doing karma yoga nowadays is more than they were doing before lockdown. I am amazed at the amount of work people are doing. How much in the Jan oxygen movement, how many people have participated? Superb. And they're working so hard over it. And everybody sitting at home, nobody has to go out of their house at all by the instruction of the Prime Minister of this country. So after all that, so much work and so much dedication, and they've done so much. I mean, amazing, absolutely amazing. So I don't know about Vijay Chauhan. I was not present at the informal meeting that happened on Monday. The slot was full. Are we to do any more informal meeting? No, Vijay, or yes, I don't know. Alka is in charge. You deal with her. You just speak to her and decide whatever y'all want to do. If y'all want to do an informal meeting or don't want to do. But please, everybody should be in the Vedanta Treaties Flow of Thought Wala group. Oh, okay, Vijay. Then somebody please help Vijay with the basics. Bharat, please get in touch with Vijay and understand what he needs. If I'm required in the call, get me in too. Okay, can we come back to the text? No text is being done today. Okay, flow of thought only I'd asked. Anybody has a question? If you're in A category or B category, then if you have a question on the flow of thought, because study nahi kiya aur questions ask kar rahe hain. Pagal log hai kya? No work done and question is being asked. Do the work first, then ask any question.
Ankit, can I ask a question?
Yes, Aditi, you're showing me your pressy writing, which is excellent. So your questions I have to take, especially after this declaration. Yeah, go ahead, Aditi.
Thank you so much. Today I'm seeing the benefit of studying. I just want to ask a question which you said, that ask for help when you go back to verse 11 and you can't figure it out, ask for help. But there's certain things which are very difficult in spite of asking for help and trying to follow what the advice is given. So how does one work on that front and move ahead?
Ask for advice again. Suppose you were at a dietitian. Dietitian gave you a diet chart and you tried it and you couldn't do it. Then what do? You'll say, oh no, this is a bit difficult. Can you tweak this for me? And the dietitian will tweak it again. Because everybody has to start with what they can do. No, you can't tell a person to do what they can't do. So go and ask for advice again from whoever you had asked it originally. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, so remember that this subject, everyone, remember this, is your participation. Because you're only going to get from this class what you put in. You'll get no more. You may have the world's best teacher or you may have the world's worst teacher. But you will get directly proportional to what you put in. This is not a hobby class we have over here. This is something that has to sort of absorb our whole life. That doesn't mean you only attend class and you do nothing else with your life. It is your whole vision of your own life has to change. So that won't happen without your participation. Nobody can change that for you. So please understand, there is an illusion, there is a reality, we see the illusion and then we chase it, bringing about wrong hopes, wrong desires, wrong actions. It is vichetasaha, without an intellect. The consequence of it is that we become people we don't want to become. We become these asuras and rakshasas. And if you become a really bad asura and rakshasa, you even lose that thought that I'm doing something wrong. And that is why you will find many people can do such horrendous acts, because the more you go down that direction, the worse it gets. Okay, so I assume if you're in this class, at least you will, even if you do something wrong, there'll be something within you telling you that, this is wrong, I don't want to do it. But when you even give up that last hold on the knowledge, then you will do that wrong thing and not feel it is wrong. Then those are the Ravanas and Duryodhanas and the whatever people who do whatever they do in this world. So if you see things from a practical angle, you'll know that we're talking about life. We're not talking about some high philosophy that some sage in the Himalaya thought of. We're talking about real life over here. This is what happens. This is not the theory. This is the real deal. And you have to see it as the real deal. Okay, so verse 13. Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakrutimashhritaha bhajantyananyamanasaha jnatva bhutadimavyayam. Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakrutimashhritaha bhajantyananyamanasaha jnatva bhutadimavyayam. Okay, so there are two things. There is the illusion, there's a reality. You can take it in the absolute sense as the world is an illusion and the reality is Brahman. You can take it in the relative sense as in there is a fact and there is my perception. Okay, whichever one you take it, the philosophy holds true across the board. Okay, it is true today, it is true all the way up to realization. That's the greatness of Vedantic knowledge. It's not true only at an absolute sense. It's true from this moment right now. Every bit of it is true right now from this very moment. Okay, so Mahatmanastu. Tu means but. Mahatma. These Mahatmans. O Partha, Daivim Prakrutim Ashritaha. Who are Ashritaha, who are based in, who are sheltered by, who are possessed by the Daivim Prakriti. Now, can you please tell me what is the Daivim Prakriti? If you don't answer this correctly, that means you've not followed the line of thought at all.
It's sattvic nature.
You are simply not listening. Anyone who can't answer this question means you have not been listening.
Ma'am, Purusha.
Original nature, self.
So,
those who see the reality.
Very good. Remember where we started. Don't get lost somewhere, please. There is the illusion, there is the reality. Those who follow the illusion reach where? Those who follow the illusion reach where?
Unhappiness.
They become
Unhappy,
Rakshasas and
Asuric.
Asuras.
Asura.
Correct? Very good. Okay, so who are the Mahatmas then?
The ones who see reality.
Reality.
Yeah, so simple, no? Bhagavad Gita is really very simple. It's not a complicated text. It was given to Arjuna. Arjuna did not have brains. He was a warrior. He was a man of action. He wanted to go there and fight. He didn't have much brains, so it can't be tough. Remember that. He's talking to Arjuna, and Arjuna is understanding what he's saying. Arjuna is saying, "Pata nahi kya bol raha hai, mujhe palle hi nahi pad raha." He didn't say that. He said, okay, fine. He's understanding. When he doesn't understand, he asks a question. It's so simple. It's just follow the line of thought. Don't let it go. Follow the line of thought. So if you follow the illusion, if you go with your perception, if you don't re-examine how you're thinking about it, you will go into a worse and worse state and reach the state of the Asura. Then who are the divine souls? Who are the mature souls? Who are the good souls? Those who took the trouble to find out what is the real state. That's the only difference. There is no difference between the Asura and the Mahatma. We think of the Mahatma as some great guy over there, maybe in the Himalayas, and the Asura as some really horrible fellow somewhere. No, it could very be the same person. When his attention is on the illusory things, on the wrong things, he becomes Asuric. When his attention comes on the real things, on the facts, he becomes Mahatma. He is possessed of the divine nature. What is the divine nature? Just that you are able to deal more with facts and less with perceptions. You're able to ask the question, is it really as I am seeing it? Or is there something more involved here? You're able to see beyond what these two eyes can show you. What these two eyes show you is the mirage. But you have another eye with which you can see. That eye is your intellect, with which you can see beyond your two eyes. That's why iconographically Shiva is shown as opening his third eye. Third eye is what? Nothing but your own intellect opening out. That's your other eye. And then you know the story, right? When Shiva opens his third eye, what happens? What happens?
Bhasma.
Bhasma. Oh, and destroyed. But what is destroyed?
Destruction.
Total destruction. What is destroyed?
Illusion.
Illusion. That is why he is worshipped. Because that's what we want, right? We want that illusion to be destroyed. We want to see the truth. We want to know what is really there. Because that's the only way to deal with life. How else will you deal with life? I hope all that is clear. Now, let's see what are the adjectives he's given for such people. Okay, basic is clear. हो गया अब सार्थक. 2 questions हो गए. कोई question नहीं. B category वालों को 2 ही question मिलते हैं.
अरे मैम पूछ लेने दीजिए.
क्यों पूछ लेने दूं? Everyone will say I'm giving you preferential treatment.
No मैम, आप ही का वो एक statement था कि don't be a hypocrite.
तो
मैम क्या कहते हैं, जैसे शुरू में ही जो ये जो देवी प्रकृति वाले हैं वो शुरू में क्या कहते हैं एनालाइज कर रहे हैं कि मे बी देयर इज समथिंग मोर, और फिर वो साधना करके वो फाइंड आउट कर ले रहे हैं कि वहां कुछ और है.
नहीं, you are caught in that thing, Sarthak. That's why you're not able to move with the knowledge at all. You're just stuck in some, I don't know who has put it there or whether you have got it yourself, but you got stuck in some kind of I don't know what, some kind of block with reference to the philosophy. That's why follow the line of thought. It is not wo fir sadhana karenge. Please make it common sense.
मैम बट फिर उन दोनों को सेम कैटेगरी में पुट कर, उन दोनों को
तो सही, सुनोगे ही नहीं तो क्या पल्ले पड़ने वाला है.
मैम बट उन दोनों को फिर सेम कैटेगरी में पुट करना चाहिए ना, वो जो असुरिक और देविक हैं, क्योंकि उन दोनों को वेकिंग वर्ल्ड में वही दिख रहा है जो उनको दिख रहा है, उनको वो इल्यूजन नहीं दिख रहा है.
Firstly, I'm letting you ask a question when you're not to. The least you do is listen. Okay? Right. So you have got into this block of some very strange interpretation of this philosophy. You have to leave that interpretation, at least as far as the class is concerned, and look at it properly again. All you need to do is a simple thing. You say, I want a girlfriend. Okay, this is your perception. I want a girlfriend. Now you have to see and ask yourself the question, ask yourself some question about it. Any questioning you do about it puts you on a philosophical note. Okay, so what if I want a girlfriend? Ask any question to yourself, not to anyone else. Ask yourself any question. What happens if I get a girlfriend? What happens if I don't? If I don't get a girlfriend, I'm going to be very miserable. What happens if I do? Then I'll want a wife. Then I'll want a child. What happens if I do? Then I have to ask myself, what is the right way to get a girlfriend? What service orientedness am I supposed to put into that? Ask these questions. Forget sadhana and forget meditation and forget big, big words. Just come back to your own life and deal with your life. Don't go, oh, sadhana karenge, ye karenge. I don't know what you mean by sadhana. Sadhana means just simple questions about your own life. Am I seeing it the right way? Am I going about it the right way? If I want a girlfriend, why don't I have one? What is it that I'm not doing correctly? How am I behaving that I'm not getting it? Or how am I behaving that I'm getting too many girlfriends? Whatever your problem in life may be, I don't know. Thinking about it is sadhana. So as soon as you start thinking about it, you start becoming objective. That's called a Daivic person. No big sadhana you have to do and wait for many, many years. You have
Ma'am,
to start right now.
I wasn't talking about some ritualistic practice or by sadhana I meant this only.
So why you will wait for so long? You start today and do it.
I am objective all the time. That makes me, that puts me in this category, Devik.
Yes, of course. If you're objective all the time, Sarthak, we would see some manifestation of that in class as well.
Ma'am, but class में मैं emotional कहाँ हो रहा हूँ?
अच्छा ठीक है, रहने दो. Think about it some more. Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritim ashritaha. So now let's see, what are the adjectival clauses he's used for this? What are these type of Daivi people? Ananya manasa. No other thought. No other thought. What a qualification he has given. You refuse to get involved in that illusion. You will be sucked into it. You will be pulled back into it. Why will you be sucked and pulled back into it?
Because that is what you have been thinking about since a long time.
Very good. Because you have created a flow over there. You've created a torrent over there. So you get sucked back. You get sucked back. You have to fight it. Because you created that torrent. There was no torrent given to you. You created it. You will have to fight to get out of it. So you say, no, it's too tough. Fight. You have no option. The more tough it is, the more nonsense you have done. And if you don't fight even now, you'll just make that torrent worse. So fight. What are you fighting? You're fighting a wrong perception you have of things. That's all you're fighting. You're not fighting anything else. Just fighting an incorrect perception. And the old perception will pull you back. And when it pulls you back, it will push you into emotion. And that emotion will make you feel that illusion even stronger. Fight it. There is no other way to it. And when you come out of it, even that little bit which you have created, that little mess, you come out of it, you will feel like a relief. First, you'll feel relief. Then you'll think, pagal thi kya? Why did I make such a big deal out of that? Suddenly, that which was such a big deal, suddenly is like, what exactly was I thinking? Because that torrent of thought has now gone away. And that's what you have to do. That's it. It's nothing very complicated. It sounds very complicated. I have to fight, it's not very complicated. While you're inside, it seems like I've got to do this amazing thing. When you're outside it, you feel, what was the fuss about? That is why, if you notice, when other people are crying, you think, what is the fuss about? What are you getting so worked up about? Isme kya badi baat hai? And then we say, yeah, stop it, or just think, forget about it. Actually, that person can't. That's the problem. Can't forget about it. Because they have to fight it. They created some mess, now they have to get out of it. They are no better, no worse than us, because we often do it ourselves. And whenever we do it, we will have to fight our way out again. So don't say, oh, they are so involved, they are so objective. Oh no, our mind is capable of creating that mess anytime. So be sympathetic when others are fighting, because who knows when we will have to fight. We have created a lot of nonsense in the past. And as you grow, you keep coming up to those little blocks. You think everything's under control, and then suddenly you say, "Arey, ye kya ho gaya?" How do we judge that perception is wrong? He's given you the thing, no, Dhaval? He said, you see, you're becoming an Asura. You're doing what you know you should not be doing. So therefore, you know something has gone wrong over here. So you start from where the maximum problem is. So at least you're recognizing that there is something. And stop blaming the world for it. Because the world can do nothing. It's powerless, it's helpless. So with an unwavering mind, keep trying to deal with facts rather than dealing with opinions, perceptions, belief, faith, desires. Deal with facts. And monitor your journey through this whole thing. So if you keep unwavering in that, you become what is known as object. And the easiest way to do that is to hold on to something that will keep you objective. And some thought which keeps us objective in life. The best way to stay objective in life, what is the thought we should hold on to? Because you can't hold on to reality. You haven't seen it yet. So how are you going to hold on to it? So what pushes you in the reality thing more and more is a one-word please.
Ideal.
Very good, Bharat. Is the ideal. Keep track of your goal, because that's the thing that's going to be pulling you up. Keep track of that. Having known me to be the imperishable source of beings, you've already seen how the reality is the cause of the illusion. If that reality was not there, what would you be misunderstanding, right? If the rope was not there, why would you think of a snake? I mean, if an elephant was there, you wouldn't think of a snake, right? So because it's the rope there, you thought it was a snake, or you thought it was a twig, or you thought it was a crack in the ground, or whatever it is you thought of that thing. You thought of that thing because that reality was there. So I am the imperishable source of it all. You understand the very substratum of everything. And a person who understands that becomes that. Quite simple, right? Okay, so what is Bharat saying? Announcement for webinar today. Oh yeah, today is the talk and Q&A. I hope you all know about it. Bharat has an announcement for us about it. Go ahead, Bharat.
Yes. Hello, everyone. This evening, 7 to 8 p.m. India time, we will have this talk and Q&A. The details have already been shared on the group. If you haven't registered yet, please do so. Everyone has to register. And the details of how one can ask a question are all in the link. So see you all in the evening. Thank you.
Yeah, send your relationship associated with lockdown type of questions. I don't know whether we have plenty or not, but any relationship issues that is out of lockdown, you can send them anonymously also. So we'll meet again in the evening. Hari Om.
Thank you, Janki.
Hari Om.